Hello guys, hi, this is Ganesh Nayak. I help finance professionals and students to excel in their career and become a better version of themselves. And I also help students appearing for CFA and FRM exam to help them to clear the exam in the first attempt. Now I'm back with one of my videos where I'm going to be talking to a student, but this time he's not my student. We got to interact on WhatsApp after and slightly before the exam results were out. We were chatting and then we got to know that he cleared the exam. So I thought, why not ask him to come on the platform and share his experience about preparing for the exam. So he's going to be talking to us about his journey of preparing for the exam, what are challenges he faced, what was the order of book he prepared for the FRM Level 2 exam, and he has been able to clear the FRM Level 2 in May 2022. Okay, when he started, he was working. So along with work, how he managed. So everything we're going to be discussing in this. With this, I'd like to welcome Rushabh. First of all, Rushabh, thank you very much for taking out time and talking to us and the audience. This will help them to prepare for the examiner better. Thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
So,
sir.
Rushabh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
No, you can say this.
Please go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So I'll just introduce myself. So
yes.
my name is Rushabh Dugad. I have completed my BBA in International Business from MIT, and then I started my journey for CFA Level 1. So I started CFA Level 1 in December 2019. Then,
Okay.
I completed that. I passed that exam. Then I was going to give CFA Level 2, but COVID happened. So with CFA Level 2, I started preparing for FRM Part 1 as well. So
Okay.
that exam I gave in Jan 2021, I guess. Yeah.
FRM Level 1.
FRM Part 1. Yes, sir. So I gave that.
Okay.
Then in November, I gave CFA Level 2. I scored 90 percentile in CFA Level 2. And then after that, in May, I gave FRM Part 2.
So from January 2021 till November 2021 primarily.
2. Yeah.
No, November 2021. The
yeah.
CFA
so I
exam.
was studying for CFA and CFA, and I was working as well.
But you were able to give time for FRM also during that period from January 2021.
No, I didn't study for FRM. I studied after CFA Level 2.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
primarily your journey starts from January mid of 2022 for the May 2022 exam, right?
Yeah, so I started my journey in December only. So probably I was like, let's start studying for FRM Part 2 in December only.
Okay, so you started from
studying.
December onwards till May. Now, when you
Yes.
started your preparation, how much time you were dedicating each day?
So probably I actually had my office work as well. So I could dedicate around 2 to 3 hours per day,
Okay.
And I joined a different coaching class as well. So I was using that help, and that coaching class was providing me PDFs and class notes to refer from. So I used to go through those as well.
Okay.
So
and
those helped me.
And the 2 hour that you said, that 2 hour was almost same till May, or it got reduced, it got increased? What has been
on weekends, so it depends. So on weekdays, I used to study for 2 hours. So Saturday I had work half day, so I could study for 5-6 hours on Saturday, and Sunday also I used to study for around 7 hours, 7 to 8 hours. I used to utilize my weekends properly.
Okay. And just for the benefit of the audience, your work profile, what exactly you do?
So I am into equity research. It is not related to risk management. Actually, I joined after CFA Level 1. I got an internship at the firm, and there only I got placed again. So I'm currently working there only. I've been working since 1.5 years over there.
So primarily,
first I was an intern, then I was a junior equity research analyst. Now I'm an equity research analyst over there.
The reason I asked you this question primarily because when you read for FRM Level 2, I wanted to understand how much it is connected to your work.
So investment risk part
that way
was a tad bit related, but not related, because equity research is a different altogether game,
right?
Which cannot be used over here. So I wanted to apply active management part over here, but honestly, practically I couldn't use it over here.
Got it. So basically, there was very less overlap between what you were actually doing in a day job and then you are reading for FRM Level 2. Now, which book you started with? The first book?
So as I told you, I completed my CFA level 2. So for me, I guess investment risk was the ideal choice because, it was relevant
Hmm.
to CFA level 2 as well. So factor theory, APT, then all the active risk management parts was already covered over there. So I thought I'll
Okay.
start from there. So I
Perfect.
started
Perfect.
that. So yeah. So I started and it was very easy for me because I already had the background. I just had to read it once and, refer to the videos once.
And you also solved the question bank immediately, or you said, no, I'll solve it later for that particular book?
No, so after completing one reading, I used to solve only analyst prep questions. I tried solving BT, but honestly, it was a little tricky for me. So some questions I used to solve from analyst prep. All questions
Okay.
I used to solve from analyst prep and some from BT.
Now, primarily when you, okay, so you completed the inertia management book. Then after that, what was
Yes.
the next book that you picked up?
So next, I started with liquidity risk, and honestly, it was very interesting for me, and it was conceptually, very interesting. This is how a bank, regulates on the liquidity part, and this is
Hmm.
how it works. So it was very interesting. That's why I was connected, and I could, it was interesting for me.
Right, because a lot of the content in liquidity is connected to your retail banking also. The way they manage
Correct,
their
correct.
deposit, their reserves and all part.
Yes.
So
Plus,
that then,
I used to research on banking stocks as well. So it was a little interrelated ki how like
okay,
this is how CASA is used and this type bank makes money,
okay,
something like
okay,
that.
wonderful, wonderful. And then after liquidity, what was the next book that you went to?
Liquidity, after liquidity, it was market risk.
Okay,
So market risk mein I started with parametric, non-parametric, which was little relevant to CFA level 2, but it was in detail and it was in depth. So I had to study for that. And correlation, I did the first two readings from Schweizer because the content, the
hmm.
coaching which I joined, they didn't provide me those videos. So I self, did it from Schweizer. I read correlation readings, but honestly, the third reading I could barely understand because it was complicated for me. And
Okay,
I guess the third part was the drift term, the art of term
term
structure.
structure.
Those readings, yeah, those readings were interesting, and I could, it was fun for me.
So now you started with investment, liquidity, and market. When you completed market,
Yes.
what was the time? In the sense, which date had you reached? Any idea?
So honestly, I don't remember ballpark number. I guess it was Feb mid or Feb end.
Okay, so now it's only
Yeah.
1 month proper March that you
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
and you have operation risk and the credit risk, two big books.
Credit risk.
So
Yeah.
you went to
Yeah.
which book?
So then I went to credit risk because I knew operational risk was not my cup of tea and it was a lot of theory. So
Hmm.
honestly, I like conceptual things and ones which are practical, which are calculation oriented. So I started with credit risk then. So first
Okay.
two readings were simple. Then the real credit risk started with I guess
The
credit
models,
risk modeling. Yeah, the
modeling and all.
models. Yeah, so
Yes.
those were in depth and I had fun, but it was tricky. It was very tricky for me.
Right, right,
So
right.
yeah,
And how
and
much time
even
did
though
you took? How much time did you took for the entire book, credit risk,
for credit risk took a little more time than expected. So it took me around 15 to 20 days for credit risk only to
with
complete.
solving?
No, solving I did later. So,
Okay.
I used to make a plan and I used to, be late always. Then I used to make another plan and, that was a circle then. So I
but
never could, be on time.
but
And
that is
that
normal. I
was the
mean,
issue.
everybody who
Yeah.
prepares, their plans keep on changing. So that's very normal.
Yeah.
And then you went to primarily operations risk immediately after the credit
Yeah.
risk.
Operational risk. Yeah. So operational risk at that time. So I guess it was April. So I was studying for operational risk, but there was an incident at my place. My mother expired suddenly. So there, that's
Right.
why I couldn't study properly.
Okay. Okay.
So operational risk, I couldn't complete the full thing. So I only did the main chapter. So I asked my tutor. So I asked him, "This is the problem. Should I defer?" I was thinking about deferring also. So he told me
Basal
give an
chapters.
attempt. Yeah, so I only did the basal and the Rairok ones, those
Right.
which were practical. The rest I left those chapters. So I read the first chapter, but it was very boring. कि इसमें marks मिलने ही नहीं वाले मैं सोचा. So I was
Okay.
like, let's not do this and let's focus on current issues. कि current issues के उसमें तो probably if I read once, twice, I can do it.
So current issues you were able to complete entirely, properly.
Yeah, current issues I read once, and so it wasn't a big deal except one or two chapters. For example, AI was a little complicated for me. So AI में I messed up a little, but ठीक है वैसे questions नहीं आए उसके. So
perfect. So by the time you reached current, and you completed all the solving, what was the date roughly?
It was around 10th May, sir. So I had 15 days in my hand.
And
so
you
my exam was on
papers?
27th. So yeah, I gave analyst prep mock test, plus I gave GARP mock test and some practice questions of GARP as well. So I used to solve analyst prep questions, and I used to read the solutions very carefully, because those solutions gave me a conceptual clarity कि ऐसे चलता है. And this is how you used to think, how to think.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And what was the average score you were getting out of 80? How many rights you were getting in the box?
I used to get 50%, sir, honestly. 40 to 50% correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes if it was a good day, I used to score 50%, or else it was 40 only.
Okay. And then when you went for the exam, what happened in that exam, in that 4 hour?
So honestly, the paper was only tricky. I honestly gave FRM part 1. I have given CFA level 2. CFA level 2 questions were direct. FRM part 2 questions were so complicated. They were vast. I was reading and I couldn't understand. I read the question thrice or 4 times, the first or the second one. I was like, bhai nahi hone wala hai, scene hai ye to. Then the questions were bigger and the options were bigger as well. So I was like, I am gonna flunk. I am not going to pass this exam. So still, I made calculated guess, and I tried to solve them, and luckily it cleared.
Okay. So primarily, when you went through the entire question, the entire 80 questions in the exam, your mental state was like that कि शायद नहीं होगा. Basically, you were in that part.
Yes.
But
sir.
you were able to go through.
But I didn't think it. So I wasn't thinking that. I was like, I have come here to attempt, and I'll attempt and I'll go. So I had a positive mindset. So I was like, at least after all this, whatever has happened, I will try my best and I will try to succeed.
Perfect.
So
and
that
when you came out, when you came out of the exam center, what was the any number in your mind? Out of 80, how much you will get? Any number?
No, probably I was like 30, 40 questions might be correct, but that's just a ballpark number. I was like, I have just made calculated guesses and come. I was sure for only 20 to 30 questions, or else the rest I was like in those में से. So only there were 4 options, right? So 2 options में से it was very confusing कि if this one is right or that one is right.
Perfect. Got it. Now when the results came in, what has been the quartile for market risk? Likewise in the order.
So market risk I've got first quartile, credit risk was first quartile, operational risk was third quartile, liquidity risk was first quartile, investment risk was second quartile, and current issues was first quartile.
So primarily the major books, market, credit, I think so your preparation was very good. So you were able to pick up those things. And operations, like you said, you were not able to read everything. So that also got an impact of this. But overall, if I look at your journey, I'm just summarizing things for the benefit of the audience. So you kind of started in December. You were going book by book. Okay. You were solving the question bank also. But again, you were not up to that level, in the sense you were not able to complete the targets that you were setting in for yourself. And also at the end, something unexpectedly happened, which you were not ready for. So your planning, when you initially did not take into account those things. So this is a point that ideally everybody should remember, that we should have some buffer days kept so that you complete things beforehand, and you have some buffer days also. If anything happens, you can use that. But even after that also, when you were kind of low, you thought of deferring the exam. In the exam also, you were able to, like you said, the first question you were reading 3 times, you were not able to understand what is that. So from that perspective also you were able to clear, and that was a very good
Correct.
quartile. So very good message to this audience or the students that do not quit. Keep on reading, going for the exam. Okay, when you go for the exam,
Yeah.
also go with the positive mindset that you said. So that
Correct.
makes a entire
Yeah.
shift of your exam.
Yeah.
Now, when the results are out, what has been the feedback of people around you, your office people,
नहीं,
your
they were
friends?
shocked कि how did I pass? I was like कि नहीं होने वाला, तो they were like तू तो हमेशा ऐसे ही बोलता है and you pass, and मैं बोला कि honestly I know what I've written in the paper, I know what the questions were, and it was very tricky, but the questions were actually difficult, and if you have the conceptual clarity, you are going to read and you are going to make the correct choice. I
Okay,
just used to read, and I used to solve the main the main thing I did was I used to solve questions, and after the questions there were solutions. I used to read them very carefully, so that's why that conceptual clarity came. And honestly, the questions which are there in analyst prep or even in BT, they are very different than the real paper. So if you are conceptually clear, you can attempt those questions, right?
got it, got it. Now, three
Yeah.
tips from your side to the audience who's preparing for level 2.
Okay, so first and the most important tip I feel is just practice questions. Practicing questions has made me confident, or else
Okay,
it's very difficult.
okay. The first point. Second,
Yeah. So the second tip would be have the conceptual clarity key. Whatever you're reading, make sure you're just not mugging it up. You are learning the concept, and you have to apply it. So the questions come as per you have to solve a real life problem. So it's as per you are the practitioner, and those options are relevant to the real life problems only. That's why you should
okay,
have the conceptual clarity.
okay. And the final one,
So final one, the mistake I did, I hope you all don't do it. Start early and complete and read all the subjects. I had a problem. I didn't read all the subjects. I just went and operational risk. I didn't complete it. I just read the important topics. So it clearly was an issue on my front. I hope the students don't make that mistake.
perfect, perfect. And thank you very much,
Yes,
Anna
sir.
Rushabh, for giving us this time and
Thank you so much,
talking
sir.
about.
Actually, your videos, for example, I have seen volatility spikes. I have
Uh,
seen ERM as well. So they, those were very appealing, and it was fun, talking to you and discussing. Even though I didn't join your classes, you were able to support me, and I really respect that, sir. So thank you so
thank
much
you,
for that.
thank you very much. And frankly speaking, your journey is going to be very motivational for people. And with respect to the challenges that you faced and the way you have been able to clear this journey, and definitely this is very, very unique. Like the books that you skipped, there was some incident that
Yeah,
happened in the exam day. So all of this is very unique in experience for you. A lot of people might not be able to
correct,
go
sir.
ahead and give the exam. So this is a motivation for the students to not quit the exam because the
Yeah.
pass percentage is also good. And one point which I
Yes, sir.
generally tell to all the level 2 students is that you have to make sure that your SWEJR is done twice and your question bank is done properly, because most
Definitely.
of the student who go for the exam, they're all working
Hmm.
professionals. They don't have time to cover the syllabus. And even if they're able
Yeah.
to cover, they don't have time to solve the question bank. So
Okay.
automatically
So
you
if we are
can
telling the
become
students to, start early, we can, tell them
right.
to read GARP. Honestly, Schweizer, the content is cut short. So that's why some questions, I read Schweizer for, operational risk also. So the questions were way different. So basal reading only, the question, I couldn't solve it because I had read, read Schweizer. So that's why I think GARP comes very handy over there. Those concepts
Certain
are more
chapters,
clearer in depth over there. Yeah.
certain chapters you should definitely go for GARP. So what I also do when I give the study planner, I have highlighted which chapter you can read from GARP. But my point is first
Okay.
read SWEJR, because if you start reading GARP and you miss completing the syllabus itself, then there's no
Correct.
point. You'll end up
There's
being
no
very
point. Correct.
underconfident. So that way, I think so. Your journey is going to be very motivational for people. And thank you very much for taking out time and talking to me and sharing your experience, which could help to the students as a community at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.